the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
Good evening and welcome to the Scottish Football Zone on a Wednesday night. We are on the Scottish Football Zone, and from time to time I like to look at what we're not talking about in the game, because obviously we talk about the Premiership, the Championship, etc. But we never talk about things that's happening within the game that is good and bringing communities together. So I thought it would be useful to talk about Transplant football tonight. And we are joined by the founder of the Scottish Football Transplant team, Duncan McCauley, and also we've got Stephen Ferguson from Ross County. And you might wonder, why is Stephen Ferguson from Ross County on the show? Well, if you stick around, you'll find out as well. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram tonight. If you want to put a comment in the chat box, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. So, welcome, guys, to the show. Good to have you on. I've kind of been out and about to watch Duncan's brilliant football team, the Transplant football team. So, so I suppose taking it right back to the beginning, Duncan, and so why was a need to set this team up? And I suppose, like, if you can explain a wee bit about your journey.
Yeah. As I say, for me, it was all about supporting others, about that recovery from an organ transplant, which is a very, very difficult thing to do. In my own case, I had, so using medical terms here, but I had ventricular fibrillation, which meant that what felt like every other day that my heart would stop. Again, I was kind of brought back into the room, so to speak, via a defibrillator. And you realise how lucky you've been. You also realise the challenges are ahead recovering from a heart transplant. And you almost get to know quite a wide community who have gone through similar things. You want to help and support them. You want to kind of almost get a support group together where we can work together, we can talk through things. And I think it's important we've done it. And certainly that was the sort of primary objective, to get that into place. And something that we succeeded very, very early on. First training session, I think we had 5 players, friends and families, children. It was fantastic. Actually, it was great to see from that. But we've also got to the point of view of the more and more you speak to transplant recipients, you realise what is key to them and is important to them is that gratitude they have to their donors. In my own case, my donor family, I can't imagine how difficult the decision must have been going through a bereavement and saying, well, we want to give our loved one's heart to a complete stranger. Think of what that must take to do. And that is a big thing for the transplant team. The fact is, we want to honour our donors, and we want to make sure that we show that divine gratitude that we've all received. And really, it's a gift of life. It's all about second chances. That's a key thing for us moving forward.
There you go, the first comment of the night. Duncan, I think your fan club's in here. A journey. What an impressive journey that you've been on. Obviously, we'll come to Stephen Ferguson from kind of Ross County, because I think you've built up a connection there as well. It's good to see, but I just wanted to kind of like touch upon we'll get into the kind of like nuts and bolts of the rules and all that kind of thing. But I was going to say it is a mixed team. It's open to men and women.
Yeah, as I say, we were the only team at the European Championships to have a mixed gender team. Unfortunately, Jelena, our only female player, is injured at the moment, is going through another health challenge, unfortunately. But one of the things that we're looking to do at this new event is we're looking to create, in collaboration with the England, Northern Ireland, Wales, and obviously ourselves as a UK and Ireland women's football team, we felt that that is perhaps a better option for ourselves to move forward. And really, we're hoping that we can do a first training session at the Global Energy Stadium in Dingwall. And we can also, hopefully get a team together that will be able to play at the World Cup in an exhibition event. The World Cup's been held in Frankfurt in September. So there's a lot of good things happening from that. But we have realised, that perhaps we haven't recruited as many women players as we'd have liked to do that, going through the true sentiment of the sport, having a mixed gender team.
So if I can come to Stephen Ferguson, you might know him because he was a joint manager, Kente as well, under Stuart Kettlewell when the first spell around when Stuart Kettlewell was the manager. But if I can come to Stephen as well to ask about how you got involved in the football and how that connection kind of started, as it were.
Thanks, Michael. Listen, it was really simple. I just started with a conversation with Duncan, and like we've just heard a little bit of his journey and his story there. The conversation that we had was fantastic to hear it. It was fantastic to listen to it, and the aspirations that he had to try and pull something together was really encouraging, and it was something that we at Ross County felt that the fact that he's from the Highlands of Scotland and he wanted to bring the event to the Highlands of Scotland was something he was going to need support with, and it was only going to be possible for him to do it by himself. So Ross County just felt it was the right thing to do. We were really encouraged, like I said, and really inspired, I suppose, with Duncan's story, and we felt, and let's be clear, Ross County are just a really, really small part in this. We're just providing the facility. We're letting Duncan and the guys tap into our commercial department and the facilities that we've got at the stadium. So it's just a small part from Ross County, but it was really a nod to Duncan's vision, I suppose. And then we were lucky enough to get some footage of the last time the guys played in the tournament, and some real characters, some real guys that clearly love their football. And the fact that these guys have been given a second chance and still what they're looking to do is get back on a football pitch, I think is a brilliant message for all of football, not just transplant football. So for us, like I said, we were keen to bring the event to the Highlands. The fact it's an international tournament and the first of its kind in Scotland. So we were delighted to help Duncan and the guys at Transplant Sport.
I mean, that's the way football clubs should be working with the local community as well, whether it's Ross County, whether it's Inverness. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Inverness in front of a guy that works at Ross County.
We're all friends, Michael. We're all friends. Don't worry about that.
But no, I mean, it's really football clubs should be working with the community aspect as well. You know, it doesn't matter what level of football and what ability you've got. Everybody loves what I call the beautiful game sometimes.
No, listen, absolutely. And Ross County have prided themselves on for many years, again, that community engagement and trying to give back to the community that we get so much from. So Duncan's obviously part of that, and like you said, the passion that the guys show and the passion that Duncan and hours that he puts in as a volunteer for and what he's been through, I think it's pretty inspirational to everybody. And his love for football and the guys' love to get back on the pitch was there's too big a pool for us not to try and get involved and help them.
Duncan, I came out of I came out to the session back in, I think it was September, October time, and it was really a kind of like feel good story for Scottish football, because obviously you hear about, you know, Celtic, Rangers, what's going on in Scottish football with the ultras, the bad moments in football at the moment, but we never hear about stories like your football team and the hours that you put in day in, day out.
Yeah, as I say, I'm guessing there's lots of clubs across the country that are doing kind of similar things. It is difficult actually to get the message out there. It's difficult to recruit players. Certainly, we've been very lucky in terms of recruitment since the European Championships. You know, we've had a lot younger players that have got together. There are a phenomenal amount of volunteers behind the scenes. Again, Johnny Fallon, have to give them a kind of shout out, and Dave Mackay, our coaching team, have been phenomenal. The passion that they've put into this and the development of the whole team is getting to be quite exceptional. That, if you like, that end product that we're putting on the pitch just now, and that was really, you highlighted wholeheartedly with our wins against Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland at the weekend. We've come a long way. We've also got nutritionists on board, you know, various things, and you know, we're trying to scale up almost on the business side of the team also. It's important that we build something for the future, and if you like, you know, we're trying to get something that's in place for future generations, so that there will always be a Scotland transplant team that will be able to compete with the best teams in the world in terms of transplant football. That has to be the ultimate aim, and I think we're getting quite close to that.
And do you feel as though that your awareness raising is I wouldn't say slightly better, because you know, I know how hard that you work on it, and John and all the other guys, and I've been lucky to meet John and a few other guys at the football session. But do you feel as though that you're starting to get the numbers on board and all that?
I still believe there's a lot more we can do. Certainly for me, you'll see your team being 8-0 up against Republic of Ireland, seeing these younger players come through. For me, it was quite emotional, and the point of view of how far we've come since those early days of, you know, training at Ravenscraig with you know, friends and family along. It's fantastic to see, but there's a lot more we can do, and I'm hoping actually by hosting the first event ever, a transplant football event ever to be held in Scotland, that we can do that, that we're going to get people saying, hang on, I've had a transplant, I want to come back to playing football that I did before. I want to embrace that second chance completely. I've had a gift of life through my transplant, and hopefully we'll get more and more of these players moving forward. But we also want to recruit women's players as well for the GB and Ireland team. It'd be great to see a number of Scottish women playing at the World Cup in Frankfurt alongside us in September. There's a lot we can do, but we also, long term, I think, as we've maybe discussed previously, what we really need to do is to set up a league structure in Scotland. That will be when we've got the benefits, and that is where we will get more and more players through. We'll be able to develop them. We'll be able to get them playing at a higher level. I'm hoping eventually there may be even, you know, talent that we have in our team, in our transplant football team, that might attract, you know, the bigger teams in the future. It's a long way to go, but I think we've made great strides. And I'm sure we will get there eventually. But this is a big step for us at the moment, you know, hosting a major international event in Scotland.
And I suppose, like, if I can come to you, Stephen, I suppose, like, on that point, Duncan makes, if Ross County can do it, any club can do it.
Yeah, listen, definitely. I think any club would be the same as ourselves when these opportunities come along. You need a lot of the ducks to line up in regard to availability of the pitch, availability of the stadium, and things like that. So there's been a fair bit of discussion went on to make sure that we were able to facilitate that. But I think just again for that, because it's that first event. I think Duncan and the guys were looking for it to be, a proper stadium setup, a proper tournament setup, and obviously we've got the facilities here at Ross County to be able to provide that. So again, with the guys and the coaching staff, the players that are involved in there from the Four Nations, they're coming to a ground that we'll run it like it's a match day, and regarding the supporters ingress and egress, the kiosks will be open, the bars will be open, there'll be hospitality available. So for an event, then again, like I'm saying, we're a small part. We're just facilitating what the guys are looking for. And I think when I spoke to Duncan first time round, I think his blue sky was out to try and host a World Cup in Scotland. And again, once we thought let's see if we take a baby step first, and again, we'll learn a lot from this tournament, and it'll also let the guys see how it looks inside the stadium, but then where they can grow that, and where they can look to maybe move it around the country in the future, like you're saying, to other clubs, because it is about spreading the word. It's about letting people know, not only about the guys that are participating, but obviously the families that are involved, that will they'll be really proud to see the guys take to the pitch and play these international games on home turf.
What's the feedback been like so far, Duncan, in terms of like the tournament at the weekend there, but also people coming up to you and say, I've got a family member. I would love to play football, and they thought like they didn't have that opportunity again, but obviously you do because of this football team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is great when people do approach you and say, "Look, how do I join the team? How do I get involved?" We still get a lot of people coming in, just even through Facebook and through kind of word of mouth to move things forward. That is where we need to absolutely use every avenue we possibly can to recruit more players and develop this moving forward. For this tournament, certainly the world is watching what we're doing in terms of transplant football. We have a great opportunity here to demonstrate what we can do, the facilities that are available, and the players that we've actually recruited so far. And hopefully that will also encourage others as we move things forward. It's it's a big opportunity for us.
Yeah, and I take it you'll be hoping that the weather's shining up in Dingwall that day, and you'll basically get a full, a kind of like full house, and obviously I think the key point for you, Duncan, is to get more people involved in football, raising awareness of the sport, but also sponsorship as well.
Yeah, very much so, and that has been tough. As I see, certainly the Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland are received government funded. They had a lot of sponsorship opportunities. We've done fairly well locally. There's a bowling club at Bellshill and Moss End that has been a phenomenal supporter of us. Motorola for this event. Very grateful to Stephen for allowing us to help, and thanks for putting up the poster there briefly. And to see it has been fantastic, but we absolutely need to develop that. It sometimes can be a hard sell. People haven't heard of this. They don't know quite what to expect. Really, it's a case as what we really would say from that is that, if you've never even watched a football game, please come along. It's something that's very different. We have 20-minute halves. It's unlimited substitutes. It's a game that can change very quickly. And for those who haven't seen a match, I'm sure they'll love it. But we've also got the opportunity. It wouldn't be a transplant football game without, or tournament, without, the ability to learn a new skill. We've got something for everyone at this event. They can learn about organ donation. We've got the opportunity for them to learn CPR. We're lucky to be here. We'll aim to provide as much as we possibly can, and maybe something a little bit different to people, and hopefully they'll like what they see and they will keep coming back. But really, it's a case of, we want to kind of show people that, look, we've had this opportunity. Scotland can host these events in the future. Look at where we've come, and look at what we can actually do. And particularly having that in the main stadium event, that is a big thing for us, and allows us, I keep saying it, really a fantastic opportunity here.
There you go then, the 29th and the 30th of May at the Global Energy Stadium. Do get along there, even if you're not in the area and you want to go up to Dingwall for a day out and see brilliant action at the Global Energy Stadium. Stuart, I know that you've got a few games left before the end of the season. What's Ross County doing to promote it in terms of, is it in on the website, or is it on in the Matsky programme, or is it advertising around the track side, or?
Yeah, we're just all of the above, really, Michael, to be fair. So we're kind of at the beck and call of Duncan on when we want things to go out. Obviously, we're using our marketing team and our commercial team to get round and see if we can get some additional support, not just financially, but again, people in the stadium. I think the idea is for it to be a wee bit of a celebration over the 2 days, a wee bit of a carnival kind of atmosphere. There'll be things as well as the football that will be on. But again, it's open to everybody. It's open to families. There'll be something for everybody. So again, we'll use all our resources we can, and on Duncan shout when that's going to happen and where it's going to happen. But like I said, everybody's really happy to support the event. Looking forward to welcoming the four countries up to Dingwall. And again, it's good for our area. It's good for the Highlands. It's good for football. I think you've already said it. We forget sometimes, we get lost in the high level stuff, and then opportunities like this then brings you back down to seeing some of the fantastic work from people that just love the game of football and love being involved in football and playing football. And I think that's probably as strong a message as anything for everybody.
Duncan, you touched upon some of the rules there, but can you go on a bit deeper about what is the rules? Obviously, it's not 45 minutes, 90 minutes. It's I think you said 20 minutes as well each way. So just tell us the rules. That I know that there's not kind of any offside rules, and I think you said to me before it was roll on, roll off substitutes as well.
Yeah, as I say, the rules, we've had to change it to make this a safer sport for transplant recipients. The transplant, they tend to all protect various things, so we don't want to have any injuries from this point. We've reduced the halves to 2 20-minute halves. As you see, we have unlimited subs from it. The benefit of that is that you can actually change it if, whilst receiving an organ transplant, it's a basically long-term therapy rather than a cure. They still require lifelong medication. The organ itself has a limited lifespan. Some people in the team have had multiple kidney transplants. So we need to protect these players and make sure that they are able to compete effectively. So the beauty of this is you can have them on for a few minutes if you wanted, and keep rolling them back and forward. But as a result, the game can change very quickly. It becomes a more exciting game than perhaps people are used to. and because of the 20-minute halves, there is the real kind of expectation that that we need to kind of push on, that we need to ensure that we gain the upper hand from it, because it will change quite rapidly once we have these substitutions kicking in from it. There are other things where there's no direct free kicks, that type of thing, but it's more about making it safe for all these players and protecting them moving forward. So a little bit different, and hopefully it's a game that people will like and people will adapt to. Certainly from what I've seen, they seem to have warmed to it quite nicely, just because it can change so quickly, and probably adds to the excitement of the game.
When you look at Stephen, when you look at Transplant game, and I suppose like any kind of disability football, cerebral palsy, or maybe if you look at the Paralympics for an example. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I just watch them as athletes. I don't watch them in terms of, oh, look at that guy in the wheelchair. Isn't he brilliant? Kind of like patronising them. And that's what you don't want for people to see when they come up to Dingwall or whatever, or see the team playing, Duncan. All you're looking for people to see is he's a good football player. And the transplant should become kind of like second nature, as it were.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been lucky enough to watch a number of the games that Duncan showed me, where the guys are. You talk about passion, you talk about wanting to win the game. You see absolutely everything that we see weekly in first team football or academy football. There's absolutely no difference there. You've got two teams that want to win the game. You've got two teams that are technically and tactically trying to outwit their opponents. It's like you said, it's you're wanting people to come along and watch a game of football, and that's exactly what the guys are coming on. The guys that do come along on the 2 days will be coming and watching. They'll be watching football. You'll be watching two teams that are passionate about their country, they're passionate about their sport, and I'm sure there'll be, certainly with the games that I've watched, there's no lack of quality, there's no lack of endeavour, there's no lack of effort and passion. We're all on display with every one of the games that I've watched. So again, it's encouraging to have that in the stadium. I think it's worth people coming along and watching that and looking at the journey of the players and accepting that every single person on the pitch has had a second chance here to play football, and they're wanting to showcase that, and they want to show that they've still got that fire and they're burning for football. And I think again, that's if we can bottle that, then we would be in a better place.
And I think as well that it's very good that we are having this show, and obviously you agree to come on, but like I think football and sport in general kind of like highlights the qualities, or the gap it's missing in terms of people can play football at a high level, but also you can play football at any kind of level as well, Duncan.
Very much so, yeah, absolutely. That's the key thing, and it's absolutely the passion that Stephen referred to. All these players want to give something back. They want to show the journey that they've had that second chance, they've had that recovery, that they're able to compete effectively and to move that forward. And absolutely, if they can do something to honour their donors, that absolutely drives them forward.
And I forgot to say, Duncan, even though it's a Scottish football team, but people come from all over to your training, is that right? Because I remember when I was out at Bells Hill, there was somebody coming up from, was it the north of England as well? So it's not designed just for Scottish players.
Yeah, again, there's something in you, where you are Scottish born, you absolutely want to play for your country. That is something I think that's built into us all, that we have that pride. And certainly Barry does a lot of miles. I appreciate he's moving to Dumfries, hopefully in the near future. Best of luck, Barry, with the house sale. But as I say, it is a big thing, to be able to do that. But we've got people from all over Scotland, Peterhead, Newport Sligo, Edinburgh, Glasgow. Obviously, that was going to be the greater teams, but we also would like to recruit some players from the Highlands in the future. That would be a great thing to see also. We are a truly national team.
And also as well, Stephen, as well, that you would see people's confidence going from strength to strength, because you know yourself, when you join something at first, you're not sure about if you're going to like it or whatever. And but because that you've got a disability as well, it's like, I've got, people here have got organ transplants, and I'm a bit shy, I'm a bit scared to talk about it. But football's a good way to communicate as well.
100%. I always think football's a language that we all speak, and we've all got an opinion on, and we've all got something that we want to say about it. But like you said, even just from a mental health point of view, from that health and well-being point of view, from the social interaction point of view, and listen, Duncan's already said it. There's so many people that would love to represent their country and have tried for years and years to represent their country at whatever level they're competing at, and don't get the opportunity to do that. So again, you're going to have four nations up here that are all happy, that they're all happy doing what they're doing, but they're also really, really passionate and proud that they're representing their country. And there's a trophy for winning here. I think that's the bit that, and sometimes you've said it yourself there about the camaraderie, being part of something, Michael, being part of a group, being part of a team, and contributing in whatever way you can. And I think that, for everything that I said previously, mental health and well-being and physical attributes, that it ticks every single box. The fact that you're coming up against the rest of the UK, the fact that there's we want to make it like a tournament, we want to make it like a festival where there'll be an opening ceremony, there'll be a closing ceremony, there'll be flag bearers, there'll be national anthems, there'll be all the stuff that we all get excited about. And if you're lucky enough to be able to represent your country, you've experienced that. But even as a supporter, even as a member of the family, their kids, their partners, their parents, whoever's coming along to support them is going to be a proud. It's going to be they're going to be really proud, and it's going to be a proud moment for the participants, but it's also going to be a really proud moment for the families, because again, for me sitting on the outside that doesn't know too much, I certainly know in depth like Duncan does, the families have been through real challenges as well, and they'll have been sure there'll have been stages in that journey that they wouldn't have felt that they were going to be sitting in a championship stadium watching their loved ones representing their country at certain stages of the journey that they've been through. So I think again that's something to shout about, and it's a brilliant point you make, Michael, around we're fascinated with high performance and top level, what's deemed the top level of any sport, and that. There's a whole different ball game here. There's a whole different cause here, and sometimes I wonder if this cause is even greater than the one that we're all fascinated and wrapped up in performance football.
I suppose, like you make a good point there, Stephen, when you say about football, when we were talking about the football's a kind of language that everybody uses and helps, but also kind of like families. That it's a bit of I don't want to say a support group for families, Duncan, because that's the wrong word to use, but you know what I mean. It's like everybody there has went through their journey, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or the end. Everybody's on the same boat, as it were, and everybody can support each other.
Yeah, and that's something I'm particularly proud of, the way the team has gelled together. They've become a really tight unit. sharing these experiences widely. We've also had the families involved. As I say, we a number of them visit the games. It was nice to see a few over in Dublin at the weekend. For me, that's quite phenomenal, and just realising how tight that was, and maybe a little apology to Ryanair. I think we were a bit boisterous on the plane, from what I hear. But again, what a great day, and it kind of shows how tight they were, working together. They've all had various transplants. They've all been through so much to get to this stage. And really, quite often these events, even with the other teams, you'd be surprised that you almost get a bond between them. It's probably something different to certainly what I was expecting when we went down to the European Championships. The fact is that everyone was so open and friendly. They all shared what they'd been through. And a lot of them wanted to talk from it. And it gets back to the point Stephen is saying, it's important that we all talk about things, that we all share these experiences and improve our mental health moving forward. And I think that's probably been one of the big successes of the team, that we've done that and we've built that tight unit together. And again, even with new players, it's amazing how quick they come out of their shell and how they adapt to that. It's been, for me personally, very impressive, and I'm very proud to have seen that over the last 18 months.
Before we go on, guys, and talk more, obviously, I'll mention about this maybe about another 10 times before we finish tonight as well, because it's a very important issue, and Duncan's smiling there, so I think I'm doing a good job there, hopefully as well. So Only As Good As Your Last Game has commented on YouTube. Thanks for watching. He says, it's good to see Stephen, and hopefully Ross County can kick on. I think that's coming from an Inverness fan. I'm not actually sure. But also, Duncan, how can people kind of like get involved in the team, and maybe in the as coaches or whatever, volunteers?
Very easily. As I say, we encourage people to contact us through our Facebook page, which is Scotland Transplant Active Football. Or again, we've also got via X, you can message through on that. We also have an email address, scotlandtransplantfootball@gmail.com. Any one of those, and please feel free to reach out. We'd welcome you aboard. And feel free to join me. People at all levels, we want to encourage, for the future, that we develop and that we grow moving forward.
I think
for us.
Sorry, Duncan. I think just to answer the question, the previous question that popped up there, and around how do you get into it, I read that the other way, rather than how do you get into the. I thought you mean how do you get into the event. So it's probably quite important to say that. Obviously, I think you were right, Duncan. I think I was wrong. It's just how I interpreted it. But I think
to do both.
From Ross County, and it's not. We're looking to raise as much as we can for transplant, the transplant sport. If we wouldn't be looking for. There's not going to be a fee to get into the stadium. We would maybe ask for a small donation to Transplant Scotland Football or the wider transplant sport. But again, it's not around. We want people to have the opportunity to come and watch, and if that means they're coming out the stadium for free and watching the day, then that's what will happen. Like I said, there will be enough stuff on the stadium that hopefully they'll eat in the stadium, or they'll buy a drink in the stadium. They'll certainly enjoy the day, but we'll make it as easy as we can for anybody over the 2 days to get into the stadium and watch the games.
And Duncan, you were saying there, and a big part of football is when we, you play football on a Saturday, or in your case, it was a Sunday. I came along. You win the game, and you be a bit boisterous, as you say, and the Ryan are playing. Other playing that are available, by the way. But do you feel that that's kind of missing sometimes in football, that you can have a football game, you can be serious, but you can also have fun as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's also the level of pressure that a lot of teams are under. It probably does, I would expect, possibly hamper that to a certain extent. The case is certainly we are probably taking our games a lot more seriously. But you can still have that. You need to have that bonding. You need to have those teams that will work together, have each other's back, and will work together. Again, it's part of team building and part of teamwork, really, that is required in any level of football. Um, it's important and vital that we do that. But as you say, certainly level of pressure. I can imagine that can be more difficult at times, depending how results are going, that type of thing. But I think it is key to teamwork that we're able to do that moving forward.
Would you agree, Stephen?
No, absolutely. The only pressure that the guys will have on them will be the pressure they're putting on themselves to perform, I would imagine. So, because like I said, having watched the games, there's definitely guys that are going to be competitive and want to win that one. But no, you're spot on, Michael, again, in regarding, we all know that when money starts to get involved in football, then that's when the goalposts change a little. This isn't about money. This is about a proper cause and a proper love of the game. So for that, I think again, that's where you're right. We all get involved in football from a young age because we love the sport, we love the game, we love playing it, we love watching it, we love being part of it. And again, the higher up you go in that ladder, my experience has been that the further away you get from that sometimes, and I suppose that's no great. That's no great, but it's probably reality. We're kind of stripping this back here, and we're stripping it right back to four countries and four teams that are doing it for their love of the game and for doing it for the cause that they've got in their part of their journey. So for that for me, that's a recipe for enjoyment. It's a recipe for fun. It's a recipe for respect. Certainly for their own team, but also the opposition team, because for every step of the journey that they've been on as an individual, they know that every single person on the pitch or in the dugout or on the side of the pitch has also had the same challenges and experienced the same, if not similar, if not the same thing. So I think there'll be moments where it's really light-hearted and a real reality, just being happy to play the game and be happy to do something that they love that maybe they didn't think they would be able to do again. So I think that for me, and again, I'm talking from the outside and no one experienced anything like Duncan and the guys have experienced, but for me, that's what I think we'll see over the 2 days, and we'll see a real, we'll definitely see players playing with a smile on their face. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Duncan.
No, I was just going to say I agree completely, and I'm expecting that type of thing. For some, it will be quite an emotional thing, but you will absolutely see people with a smile on their face. You're looking to do their best. There will be a lot of light-hearted moment also in this.
And I think as well that it's emotional when you hear the national anthem and all the rest of it, but it's going to even make it more sadder in a good way. It's in a kind of like football stadium, not a kind of like public park. Duncan, it's in a stadium where people's watching it. But I suppose that you want people to come to this. Hasn't got any affinity with Transplant football. They just come along to support the cause of the weekend and give money to Transplant football.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very different event. I don't think there's probably ever been a tournament where there is 4 international games on the one day. There is something that's very different. As I say, if I could go through those fixtures, I think it's important really that we give an overview of that. On the Friday, we have at 11 o'clock Scotland v Northern Ireland, 12 o'clock Wales v England, at 3 o'clock Scotland and Wales, and 4 o'clock England versus Northern Ireland. And we've got 4 games on the Saturday. The big one for us, Scotland against England, who are the current European champions. Northern Ireland versus Wales, a third and fourth playoff in the final. I mean, you're never going to get that at a normal event. This is something that's unique and quite special that we're putting on here. And I'm very much looking forward. I really can't wait for this event to take place. It will be a challenge from it. As I say, we do believe that we've come a long way and that we will be able to compete effectively with these teams. But it is something that's very different and probably something that you might not see again, perhaps in the Highland area.
Yeah, on that point, Stuart, Stephen, sorry, get mixed up with the manager there. Since
he's got more hair than me, he's got more hair than me.
You notice how I've not made a comment about that, so I'll move.
Move swiftly on.
Yeah, move swiftly on. But I was going to ask you, when we touched upon football and it's a beautiful game, and you see what's going on, kind of the underneath it, kind of grassroots level. Do you see another side to it then, Stephen, since you've been upstairs? Because obviously you were fully focused on the job as joint managers with Stuart Kettlewell the first time around, but you didn't actually see what was happening at the community level, as it were.
See, that the beauty of my journey is that I started at the community level. So when I stopped playing, I was the head of youth and community for maybe 6 years, and then on to academy director before I actually went into the senior side at the football club. So I have a real passion for the community. I have a real passion for grassroots football, and also that wider engagement football. It doesn't always need to be performance, but people can be the best that they can be and play at the best level for their own level, so to speak. So no, I'm pretty much immersed in grassroots football. Certainly anything grassroots across the Highlands. We've been quite a pivotal player in it for certainly. I've been back up there road 16 years, I think. So certainly in these 16 years, ourselves in Inverness and as the two senior clubs we both pride ourselves and try to service the Highland community. And the Highland community are really, really good at reacting. So I would expect the Highland community to react to this tournament, to react to the couple of days. There's really easy transport links to Dingwall. The train station's walking distance from the stadium. There's buses that will run to the stadium, and obviously we've got a huge car park out the front there that if people are driving, they're going to get right up to the front door to come in and watch. So no, we'll be using our community programme to offer it to a number of schools in the area, probably all the schools in the area, where we'll give out free tickets or free entry or whatever it is we'll be doing, and see if we can get a number of school kids down there to watch it. I know Duncan got a number of schools involved in designing the poster that you showed us and designing badges and stuff like that. So again, we'll just look to extend that and see if we can really catch fire the enthusiasm and the excitement for what's going to be happening at the stadium.
What's your if I can ask you both this question, what's your aim of the weekend? Or obviously, the obvious question is how many people are you hoping for the whole weekend? And obviously, I think it's about awareness raising and getting more people to take part, and as I said, to volunteer for the team as well, Duncan.
Yep. I'll go first. As I say, for me, again, we need to do that promotion for organ donation. That's a key objective of the team to move things forward. But certainly, I don't want the stadium to be empty. I'd love to get as many people forward. I'm hoping that fans of both Ross County and Inverness will come through, will support us. We have a great opportunity here to have regular international football. within Scotland. I really hope that people will embrace that opportunity and will come and support us. But we are offering something very different here, which I hope that people will warm to. And really, we're asking for your support to come along and support us and see something different. And you'll hopefully, as I say, we'll have a carnival atmosphere, as Stephen had referred to. We want to make this very special for the whole family. Come along and you'll learn something different as well. There are other things going on in the background from it. There's a lot that we can do, and I'm sure everybody that attends will have a phenomenal time. Whether they're football fans or not, there's a lot there for everyone that we can do. And certainly, I'm really looking forward to welcoming everybody. But not sure if you say this, but I'd love to fill the stadium.
Duncan always sets himself easy challenges.
Optimistic, yeah.
I think from our point of view, like we just want it to be, a safe event at the stadium. We want to treat it like we would treat our first team. So, our staff will all be at their usual stations. Obviously, first and foremost, we want the players to be safe and comfortable in the environment, and then obviously the supporters that are coming along to support it. We want them to have a good time, and we talk about the players having a smile on their face. It'd be great to have everybody in the stadium with a smile on their face, and if we can achieve that, then we'll go a long way to learning. The guys will learn a lot about where they take it next, and there'll be bits that they'll look at it that they maybe not want to do the next time, and there'll be bits that they'll want to add. And then that will, again, I think what Duncan's plans for the future would be to definitely grow it, to expand it. And I think we've been the first. There's always going to be teething problems, I would imagine, in certain areas. But I think, that's when you learn the most. And I'm sure the guys at Transplant Sport and Duncan and his team, they'll all take lots from it. And that will get the wheels turning for what happens next. And maybe Duncan's dream of the World Cup coming to Scotland for all the transplant football national teams coming to Scotland might not be as far away as everybody thinks.
Why not? That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm always looking out for, as a journalist, Duncan, I'm always looking out for an exclusive. So, what's your exclusive tonight on the Scottish Football Zone in terms of like the future plans? Are you planning to move it to other areas in Scotland if it goes well? Obviously, it will go well. They'll have some teething problems as well, but because every event has teething problems at the beginning, But what are your long-term goals apart from Scotland winning the Transplant World Cup?
Certainly, I'll start by saying, we have been given a credible opportunity by Ross County moving forward. Really, it's a case of we would have to be, we would absolutely be open to offers really about hosting this in an alternative area. A lot of the players are based in the Central Belt. For me personally, as a local, it is very special to have this in the Highlands and to have something like this in my local area. But we need to kind of consider what would allow us to grow moving forward. And I hate to say that as a Highlander, but we do appreciate that most of our players are based in the Central Belt. We need to get something that's closer to them. Could we increase our crowd? Could we increase footfall to these games? Could we get the message further and further out, to a wider audience, by hosting events in other areas? As I say, we have held training in multiple areas throughout Scotland. We had recent games in Elgin. We've played in Bells Hill. We've been down at Birmingham. We have done a lot of time on the road to moving forward. Again, the weekend in Dublin. It's really about promoting, if you like, the idea of transplant football moving forward. But ultimately, I see it that we need to try and get that league structure to almost mirror what they have in England. Certainly, they are able to have a greater player base and are able to have, more selection headaches. As I say, probably for the first time for the Four Nations, we do have a selection headache, which again is a great problem to have, but it shows how far we've come and the level of player that we're now attracting moving forward. That's probably a sitting on the fence type answer there, but certainly we do need to publicise this as much as we can. We do need to get people behind us. That's been quite a big challenge since we've started this journey. And as I say, it is a journey where we're moving forward. We are the new guys in terms of transplant football. But as I say, I'm also keen from the point of view of that we are able to develop, that we are able to host games regularly in Scotland, to give the public something to to follow, something to enjoy. That's always a key thing. I mean, football is an entertainment business. We need to provide that to the public, and hopefully we'll do that first at the Four Nations, showing what we can do, and perhaps we will spread that further on. Perhaps if I speak nicely to Stephen, he might want to go through this again. He might say not after this. You never quite know. But it is important that certainly Scotland is represented on the world stage at transplant football. We need to encourage these teams to travel, and that for me is key for us to develop and move things forward.
What's the feedback been like from the kind of general public? And also, Ross County fans, Inverness fans, the SFA, the Scottish Football Para Association, because I know that you've got links to that, Duncan, as well. But just kind of let us know what the feedback's been like from every kind of corner of Scotland and every kind of organisation.
I would say certainly we are registered as a para-sport team. It was difficult in the early days to get recognition within Scotland. Yeah. Certainly from a lot of the clubs, we've been given a lot of support, certainly Ross County and Inverness locally. We would also have to thank Bells Hill Athletic for what they did for us, in the early days. They allowed us to train there. We've held a number of matches at their event. Certainly the local community in Bells Hill, they've supported us. They've raised funds for us to move things forward. They have been incredible in the way that we've been supported. But it is difficult to get that message. We're competing with a lot of other sports, or perhaps shouldn't be competing with sports, but we are competing for fans and for sponsorship for ourselves moving forward. Certainly we're hoping to grow, and we absolutely need to grow to develop the team moving forward. And it's really about this as a long-term thing. We're trying to build something for the future. That Scotland will always have a transplant football team that will always be competing at the big events, and hopefully will be competing very well, just as our national team has done.
What about yourselves, Stephen, in terms of the county fans?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously, a lot of the promotional stuff is about timing and the build up to it, and it's probably the real stuff's probably going to start cranking up now. But certainly, discussions that we've had locally, and certainly around our own staff, has all been really positive, and see that it's a real worthwhile thing to get behind. So again, you'll probably see the comms and the build up to it starting to increase over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, our fan base and database and everything will be getting well commed to in regarding the information and how we get people along. I think the key to things, education always. So I think, again, if we can engage with the primary schools and the secondary schools across the Highlands and give them that opportunity, I'm sure there's real teachable moments and a lot of things that the teams have been through. And again, I think that's going to be a big part of getting bums on seats, so to speak, and get people in the stadium. I think, just to go back to Duncan's point again, I mean, Ross County would be happy to pass that baton on if we were to do it again into the Central Belt, and certainly into a more populated area. I think it's testament to this first one being in Dingwall, because again, you've without thinking, you've got the travel from your home nation. You've got a 3-hour travel to the tournament. So again, would that footfall be in more across the central belt? Then we would. It's not to say they would do it any better. I mean, we're used to holding events, and we would be happy to continue to hold the event. But if we can spread the word in the Highlands, I think a planned approach to host these in the other areas around Scotland, whether that be East Coast, West Coast, Edinburgh, and Glasgow, wherever. I think that's going to be pivotal in spreading the word to the whole of the country rather than just in the one area.
Absolutely.
Couple more points before I go, guys. Before we finish up tonight, don't forget you can watch the show again when it's finished. If you subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone, you can see us talking about this. And also, Duncan, we've got a few a month to go to the tournament, and don't worry, I'll be promoting it every week on the show. Duncan will phone me up now every Friday to say, "Have you done it yet, Michael? Have you done it?" But don't worry, I will. And good luck to you guys as well. I would be remiss of me for somebody from Ross County to come on the show and just touch upon your season so far, Stephen. So obviously you've got Stuart Kettlewell back at the helm now. How is your season going?
Michael, it's been hugely disappointing our season. I don't think anybody would expect me to say it any differently. Certainly our aspirations at the start of the season haven't been met, and that's for a number of reasons. But it's an exceptionally tough league, the Championship. There's a lot of good teams, as you're seeing in the league, and we fell short this season. But we still have an opportunity over the next 5 games to go and pick up as many points as we can, and hopefully try come hook or by crook secure our Championship status, and that will let the club breathe a little bit. We're definitely a reset in the summer, just to look at exactly where we are and exactly where we went wrong. We were 12 or 13 years in the Premier League, Michael. So we're a provincial club in the Highlands of Scotland, 6,500 seats in the stadium and 6,500 people in the town. So for being in the Premier League that long, was remarkable. To fall out of that, it hurts and it's difficult, but it probably, it was a heavy weight to carry trying to maintain that Premiership status, especially when you see what clubs are doing in the Premiership at the moment, where that phase of community clubs having success in the Premiership isn't so prevalent at the moment. You look at Falkirk that's come up, 7,000 season ticket holders, Kilmarnock 5,000 season ticket holders. You're looking at Livingston are probably flying the flag for that club the same size as ours, that community club that done exceptionally well to bounce back last year, but have found it difficult again this year. I think the reality is that you're going to need to exceed in every department if you're going to compete in the Premiership. Ross County need to probably take breath, push the reset button a little bit, and then have aspirations to getting back to the Premier League.
Good luck for the rest of the season, Stephen. We'll be keeping up to date on the Scottish Football Zone. Duncan, I think for one more sales pitch about the tournament coming up in May, but also how people can get involved in the Scotland's Transplant football team.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. As I say, the first ever Transplant Football Championship will be held in Scotland at Ross County Global Energy Stadium on the 29th to 30th of May. Something very different. You will see 4 international games per day. A lot of value in that. There will be other activities happening on the day, a carnival event, for families, something for everything, both on the Friday and the Saturday. In terms of if you wanted to join the team, certainly you can get in touch via our Facebook page or on Messenger, which is Scotland Transplant Active Football. We also have an X account, Scott Transplant 1, and also have an email address, scotlandtransplantfootball@gmail.com. Any of those, certainly we would welcome your interest in this. We're always on the lookout for new players to moving forward. It's important that we grow.
Okay, thank you to Duncan and thanks to Stephen tonight. It's been interesting for me. I know I've kind of interviewed you before, Duncan, but it's always good to highlight the kind of issue as well. And the more people that if one person kills somebody else will kill somebody else, and then you've got another football team hopefully as well. So good luck with your tournament in May, Duncan, and good luck for the rest of your season, Stephen, up at Ross County. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for all your comments. We'll be back on Friday, Good Friday, because it's Good Friday because it's the football is back this weekend in the Premiership and the Championship, and so we'll be back on Friday live at 5:00 only on the Scottish Football Zone. So again, thanks to Duncan and Stephen, and we'll speak to you on Friday.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reaction.